His journey took him to San Marino, California, a wealthy, fancy area. It was the perfect place for a con man on the rise. Here, he needed a more impressive identity. Christopher Gerhardt was not enough. He needed something with more style. He decided to become Christopher Crowe. He told people he was a television and film producer. He even claimed to be the nephew of the famous director Cameron Crowe. It was a bold lie. But in a town built on dreams and connections, it worked. He was a master of social engineering. He knew just what to say. He knew how to drop the right names. He lived in a guest house on a large estate. The estate belonged to a woman named Didi Sohus. He charmed his way into her life. He became a renter, but he acted like he owned the place. He drove a fancy car that belonged to Didi's son John. He threw parties. He invited important people. He made it seem like he was successful. He talked about his big projects. He discussed deals that were always just about to happen. He was always on the edge of greatness. He was so convincing, so confident. People in the wealthy community of San Marino started to believe him. Christopher Crowe, the up-and-coming producer, was a man to watch. His methods were simple but effective. He would learn just enough about a topic to sound like an expert. He could talk about art, money, or film with incredible authority. He was a great listener. He would soak up details about people's lives. Then he would use those details to build connections, to create a feeling of closeness. He made people feel important. He made them feel like they were part of his special world. He never asked for large sums of money directly. Instead, he lived off the kindness of others. He borrowed cars, he stayed in guest houses, he let people pay for his expensive dinners. It was a brilliant, parasitic life. But then, something strange happened. In 1985, John and Linda Sohus, the owners of the guest house where he lived, vanished. They disappeared without a trace. Christopher Crowe was questioned by the police. He was calm, he was collected. He told them the couple had left for a secret job in Europe. His story was weak, but with no bodies and no other clues, the police had nothing to hold him on. Shortly after the disappearance, Crowe himself vanished. He packed his bags and left San Marino. He knew the questions would not stop. It was time for a new identity, a new life. The mystery of the missing couple would last for years. After leaving California, a new person appeared from the shadows. Christian Gerhartsreiter now called himself Christopher Chichester. He moved to Greenwich, Connecticut, another wealthy town, another perfect hunting ground. This time, he was not a Hollywood producer, he was an English aristocrat, Sir Christopher Chichester. He claimed to be a baronet, the 13th in a long line of noblemen. He spoke with a perfect British accent. He dressed in tweed jackets and fine suits. He told tales of his family's castle in England. He was sophisticated. He was charming. He was completely believable. He was the perfect English gentleman. He quickly became part of the high society of Greenwich. He worked for a local television station. He hosted a show about classic films. He also worked for a stock firm. He used his supposed connections to impress his co-workers and clients. He talked about his family's huge fortune. He hinted at his ties to the royal family. People were fascinated. Who wouldn't want to be friends with a real-life English lord? He was invited to the best parties. He ate at the finest restaurants. He lived a life of luxury, all paid for by his elaborate lies and the trust of the people he fooled. He was very careful in his performance. He studied British culture and history. He learned the small details of upper-class manners. He never stopped acting, not for a moment. He was Sir Christopher Chichester 24 hours a day. He even managed to sell a pickup truck that belonged to the missing John Sohus. He faked the signature. He took the cash. It was a risky move, a clue left behind. But at the time, no one connected the charming English lord in Connecticut to the missing couple in California. He was a ghost, moving from one life to the next, leaving a trail of confusion behind him. But even this grand identity had an end date. The FBI started looking into the disappearance of John and Linda Sohus again. They began to connect the pieces. They learned that a man named Christopher Crowe had lived on their property. They traced him to Greenwich. They discovered he was now calling himself Christopher Chichester. They wanted to question him. Gerhartsreiter sensed the danger. He knew the investigators were getting close. His English persona was about to be exposed. So, he did what he always did. He vanished. Sir Christopher Chichester disappeared as suddenly as he had arrived. It was time to create his masterpiece.